Hey y'all, I have already been with the fall shenanigans. I posted a fall faves video this summer when I did one of those weekend sales with So Avant-Garde that was 30% off. I stand by the recommendations in that video as some of my favorite fall fragrances, but they are not alone. I have many, many, many favorites for fall. I have shelves and shelves of fall and early winter fragrances that, they're interchangeable across both seasons. And I just adore them. And then there are the fragrances that are perfect for sort of this time right here where we're actually not technically in fall yet. Because when does fall start? It starts September 22nd in the afternoon. I think it's 2:15. I said it in a previous video. PM is when the autumn equinox hits. And, it's not fall till then. But in my heart, starting Labor Day weekend, actually, early August was when my mind switches. But technically, Labor Day weekend for me is when fall starts, regardless of when the autumn equinox date actually is. But we're in that in between time where it's kind of cool and crisp in the morning, stays a little bit warmer or temperate in the daytime, and then it cools down in the evening. We're not dead into sweater weather territory quite yet. But one toe is in that direction. So I've got something in this lineup for every taste. No, they're not all vanillas, although we tend to think of fall as associated with vanilla, spices, all of that. And this is the first of probably several handfuls of fall videos that I've got lined up for you because I really truly enjoy all of the scents that fit into this season overall. So I want to start off with what is for me the quintessential fragrance when I think about this transition category. It can be both a late summer and an early fall and deeper into the fall fragrance. If you only have a few minutes today, just watch this review and you're done. Like you can have just this fragrance and be all set for this transition period. It like embodies everything I think of with this category. It is hard to find, and so I'm going to try to get this linked below. All the fragrances will be linked that I can find. This is from Trussardi. It is part of their La Vie de Milano line, and this one is called Limitless Shopping and a rest of a long name, but that's what we're going to call it, Limitless Shopping. First of all, this nudie color here, this like beigey nudie color is just so pretty to me. There's something very appealing to this color in general. That aside, the fragrance here is one of these like unicorn fall scents that actually has a really delightful apple note. I wouldn't call it an apple fragrance, but you can detect a fresh apple note here. The other distinctive feature is a soft, easygoing honey note. So when people think of honey, sometimes they think of heavy, overwhelming, almost like animalic smelling scents. Not that kind of honey. It is a very gentle, easy honey. As though you have put honey in tea, you can still smell a little bit of the honey as it dissolves, but it's not a heavy, heavy smell in the air. That kind of honey. And there's musk and there's some soft tones in here from tonka bean, which gives it like this nearly like vanillic, almost powdery softness to it, and musk in the base and other florals. But the primary features are that happy, gentle apple slash honey note in the beginning. It's very fresh, it's very uplifting, but it also has this sweetness and this depth to it that make it fabulous for fall. It's a bright, happy fragrance. I love that the name is Limitless Shopping because then that puts me in the mindset of putting on jeans, my long sleeve t-shirt, right? And going out for a wonderful fall day, sunny fall day shopping. You've got your Starbucks coffee in hand and you're headed off to the mall to enjoy maybe an outdoor mall to enjoy shopping and you're catching whiffs of this beautiful, lovely, fresh, happy scent in the air that's both appley, sweet from the honey, a little floral, and has that musky base. And it's just gentle and fabulous. A real gem of a fragrance if you can find it. Love that it's like a fall sunny happy day in a bottle. Sticking with the sunny fall crisp day idea, I associate this next fragrance with that kind of weather, and I'll share why in just a minute. And it's one you wouldn't expect to see in this category, but I think is a gorgeous transition scent. And it is Gucci Flora Gorgeous Orchid in the yellow bottle. This is the one that people say has a little bit of a banana-esque note to them. Sometimes I get that, sometimes I don't. It's mostly this airy ozonic vanilla that smells like clean, fresh sky looks to me with a feminine sweetness to it. There's a fantasy orchid note, vanilla orchid note in the fragrance as well that just comes across as like this floral loveliness to me. So think like airy vanilla with a touch of floral and a lot of just sort of like a wispy blue sky, airy feeling to it that I really enjoy. The reason that I associate it with those kind of fall days is because I actually wore it on a similar day last fall when we had some visitors come in from out of town. My husband and I drove them out to the mountains. We spent an evening at a haunted hotel out there. That was a fun evening. We were freaked out. This is like an old side story. Old sanitarium that has a really sordid history. I'll link it below if you're interested. So without getting into details, we spent the evening there and did some like wineries in the mountains of Virginia, and the air was crisp and fresh and delightful because the weather was that beautiful early fall weather that has like, it's in the 60s, 70s, like that range, and got into the upper 70s, a little bit warmer as the day went on. But when we went out to the car in the morning, I was wearing this fragrance and I smelled fresh and lovely, yet sweet and feminine, and got some nice compliments with it. I remember that it was a sunny fall day with beautiful, clear blue skies. And I have forever then associated this fragrance with that. And so that's my memory association. Hope that you feel the same way, or at least give this a chance this fall. If it's in your collection, pull it back out on one of those sort of slightly crisp fall days, but not too warm, not too cool. See what you think of it in that weather. I think it performs quite nicely and just gave me a really happy, crisp, fresh feeling while still having the feminine vanilla to it on that day. So there was another unusual suspect that came to mind as I was scanning the shelves and thinking about what's the right lineup for this category. So this may seem a little bit bizarre of a choice, but I think it's beautiful for those of you that want to stay on the feminine, floral, maybe fruity side. This is Good Girl Blush. Don't sleep on this fragrance. And I have noticed that people aren't really talking about this fragrance anymore. Like the hype around it has died down, but I still think it is one of the more fabulous shoes that have been released. Definitely right up my alley in terms of like the tones of the fragrance, the way that it blends together for this beautiful, feminine, slightly youthful, yet mature enough experience. So the primary notes in the fragrance are peony, a little bit of citrus, musk, and vanilla in the base. I think that this is just one of the sort of happiest floral fragrances that I have tried in a long time. It never fails to get compliments when I wear it. I feel good wearing it, and it has some oomph and substance to it. It's deepened up a little bit as it sat in the collection and has more projection and more longevity than when I first tried it. And I think that's the main thing about putting it in this category as a transition scent. It can hold up to the cooler temps that may be creeping into your area, particularly for those of you that still want to stay in, definitively feminine territory without heading deeper into the gourmands or the spicy fragrances or the super sweater weather types of fragrances that we typically associate with fall. So this is one of those quintessential, easygoing year-round wears, easy reach fragrances that are going to smell good, and it's got enough presence, depth, texture, girliness, and maybe a little touch of warmth from the vanilla for fall, but you still smell crisp, clean, floral, and pretty as well. Quite a beautiful fragrance. My favorite, I think, shoe. I'm not quite sure. I do love Good Girl Légère as well. It's a little bit on the lighter side, that one. I like the latest release that has the cherry note. I'm forgetting what it's called off the top of my head, but this is probably still my favorite. It's just such a happy fragrance that I think is easy to associate with that crisp, cool air of the fall and the refreshing feeling that it gives you. You got a little bit more pep in your step as you're moving out in your jeans and your sneakers and your t-shirts for fall. This is that kind of fragrance that would pair well with that. Or if you are in your pretty little floral dress heading out for an early fall event, something like that. Fantastic fragrance. Sticking quickly with feminine fragrances before we get into some of the more maybe usual suspects or predictable suspects in this kind of lineup. And this is a great transition scent and great year round. And people have sort of forgotten about this. We don't hear this discussed much anymore. From the Rosendo Mateo lineup, this is number 6. I love that they put right on the label the notes that are prominent or that the perfumer wants you to believe are prominent: jasmine, sandalwood, and musk. Yes, all of those notes, in addition to some vanilla. There's a little bit of sweetness in here from somewhere. And did we know that there's also a tinge of greenness, like far in the background? But this is perhaps one of the most gentle, well rounded, decadent jasmine, sandalwood, musk combinations out there. This is a real compliment getter, highly feminine, Much more mature of a fragrance than Good Girl Blush, which stays highly on the well, I was gonna say youthful side, but it's like a combo of youth and maybe early maturity, right? This one, number 6, is definitely a much more grown-up smell, scent, one that can be worn to date night or special occasion and get you noticed. It has this sort of lusciousness about it. It's deeper, richer, rounder, warm jasmine with a beautiful creamy sandalwood. And like I said, those touches of greenness and perhaps some other sweetness, maybe some other florals are at play here. But it is like decadently sensual, is how I might describe this fragrance. I just made that up. Are y'all proud of me? Decadently sensual. I think it really works. Very attention getting, very alluring in the air, has a beautiful sillage to it. It just smells like this gentle cloud of amazing femininity. Beautiful. And has enough substance, oomph, depth, character to carry into early fall and even into deeper fall and winter. Absolutely gorgeous scent. Number 6, if you haven't tried this, please do. Number 5 got all the attention a couple of years ago, and then Baby Cat came out and knocked number 5 off of its pedestal. Few people talked about number 6, but not many, and it is gorgeous. Definitely worth checking out. So for those of you that appreciate those kinds of molecular scents, definitely check out Cheeky Smile from Juicebox. We've talked about these fragrances being inspired by music. The name of the house is a play on juke box, right? So juice, like fragrance juice, cymbal crash. Jukebox, and then it looks like a vinyl record here on the top, and this little part glows in the dark. This has ISOE Super, which gives it this woodiness that's almost like pencil shaving with a little bit of warm muskiness. There's Ambroxan, which is a warm, ambery, musky, sometimes can also be woody scent. Cashmere, which gives it a feel like a fuzzy cashmere warm sweater, almost like a your skin musky scent together. And the beauty of this fragrance is how it dries down on your skin, at least for me. This is one that reacts with your body chemistry nicely and produces this almost slightly sweet skin musk scent as it dries down. When you first smell it off of the atomizer, it smells dry, perhaps a little boring, maybe even slightly chemically, where you're like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to spray this on. But do that. Put it on your skin, let it warm up, and see the beauty that it becomes. It's like this subtle, gorgeous skin scent type of smell, but it has this deceptive projection off of it where people in your bubble and perhaps at arm's length are going to be able to smell this on you, and it lasts all day, which makes it a beautiful scent for those occasions this fall. Maybe you're in a work environment, you're off to a conference, you're in a setting where you wanted to wear something that will be noticed by others, but not be the star of the show, not scream for attention. Just a nice, like subtle skin scent type of smell without being too close to the skin. It will be noticed and it will hold its own in crisp fall weather as we transition here. Cheeky Smile, quite delightful and beloved by juice box lovers and people that enjoy molecular types of scents. Really quite an interesting little number here. Among the more elegant, quiet luxury types of fall fragrances, this is great for transitioning because of its elegance and its edited and restrained nature. And it's perfect for as we get deeper into fall and maybe even winter. You'll hear about this one again. It is delightful. If you haven't gotten your nose on Ambre Magique from Mizensir, please do. If you're familiar with the perfumer let me try that again. Alberto Morillas. This is his line of fragrances. This is such a freaking fantastic combination of a subtle, gorgeous, very well rounded, almost like refined amber vanilla combination with just a hint of citrus. If you're averse to citrus, don't be afraid of that. It is just like the subtlest infusion of this sort of orangey note to add this brightness to it. You wouldn't even be able to like detect it if you didn't know that there was citrus in the fragrance, but it just adds this little bit of brightness. The floral in here is a delicate rose, and maybe it even has a little touch of muskiness as well. But the primary features are amber and vanilla with that delicate rosiness on top. Maybe even having like a combination of other florals because it's not like distinctly rose where you'd smell it and think, oh, this is a rose fragrance. It's just got this bright, fresh, almost like floral nuance to it that leans in the rose direction. This is wonderful. It's one of those fragrances, if any one of the notes pushed out a little bit farther than the other, like if the formula contained just one or two more drops of one of those notes versus the other, it would have been a completely different fragrance. And so, in that sense, it's nearly like masterpiece status in terms of the combo of the vanilla, the amber, the florals, the slight citrus, and the very, very slight muskiness here. It is fantastic. Very unisex, but easily worn by ladies because it's got enough feminine edges and roundness to it to be appealing to ladies and also just smell fabulous on gentlemen as well. This is a beauty. Ambre Magique. Then a fragrance that I have a hard time describing, but I absolutely fell in love with, had to have a full bottle after I sampled it, from Ella K, Reflet sur le Covango. One of the primary notes in the fragrance is the acacia plant. For those of you that don't know what that smells like, let me just describe what this fragrance is to me. It is like the golden hour. If you could capture golden hour, so as the sun is setting, and it casts that beautiful ambery golden honey colored, like the juice in the bottle, that color casts that color over the land, and there's like this magical feeling in the air as the sun starts to go away and the cool air starts to maybe fill the evening. That's captured in this bottle, like golden hour caught in a bottle. It's like a honeyed floral with these nearly musky, powdery, maybe even like dusty edges to it that I just find completely intoxicating. Super long lasting, very projecting, very enveloping fragrance. It's like you get lost in the beauty of this scent. I've talked about how this reminds me of a trip I took years ago with students when I was a teacher to South Africa and had the pleasure of being on reservations, like game reservations, animal reservations during the golden hour, and sometimes in the very early morning light that gives you that same golden hour effect. And so, even though this is the sun on the Okavango Delta, on the other part of the continent, I had similar experiences, if you will, in South Africa on the southeastern part of the continent. Beautiful experiences, sort of these magical, mystical moments as the sun was setting and that goldenness came over the land. So this does have a little bit of a honeyed effect to it. It's this beautiful soft floral, and it's like a combination of white florals and purple florals together. So both like warm, inviting white florals as well as the coolness of purple together, and maybe like an ambery base. The other thing about this fragrance that I sometimes get is this kind of like laundry-esque, like dryer sheet type of backdrop to this, in addition to having the honeyed florals in the front, which is just such an interesting combination of scents. And it is spectacular to me. Maybe one of my favorite fragrances in my collection and one that I could not wait to get my hands on. And I adore this. It is top notch to me, top notch, beautiful. And there's something unique about this as well in terms of like the floral note combination that I haven't smelled in very many other fragrances either. Reflet sul Locovango, amazingness. So this is maybe one of the most usual suspects in a video like this and perhaps belongs deeper into the fall, but I absolutely adore the bottle of this fragrance. I love like the whole aesthetic of it. It's Donna Karan's Cashmere and Palo Santo. What an interesting, unusually shaped bottle, unique for this scent. What I mean by that is, a bottle like the square bottles for the Rosendo Mateo line are probably like mass manufactured and can be used across a number of different fragrance houses if they purchase from the same bottle manufacturer, right? The Good Girl bottles are unique to that line. They're made specifically for that. This is a unique bottle made specifically for this Donna Karan line, and it's got this unique top on it that is magnetic and quirky, and I just love the whole look of this. But the scent itself is also quite fabulous, beautiful for fall. You have to appreciate a slightly, like ever so slightly smoky, maybe even like peppery smelling, woody vanilla fragrance, which is what this is. It also has a peach note, so there's like this delicate, slight fruitiness in the background that's in the stone fruit direction. So like apricot, peach, those kinds of fruits that have a note in them, plum, a note, a stone in the middle, right? A stone fruit, like the seed in the middle, that's like a stone, right? The primary woody note here is Palo Santo, which for me is very similar to a sandalwood note. It's perhaps a little bit drier than most sandalwoods and sometimes has a little bit of a smoky nuance to it. I think that this is delightful. One of the most fabulous vanilla, woody, slightly peppery, slightly smoky scents. Dare I say, sometimes preferable to like the baby cat family of fragrances. Did I say that? I did. I don't have baby cat, but I have Vanagloria, which is very similar to baby cat, and I've got other smoky vanillas, and this is among the best. And the reason I have it here in this category is because it stays light enough on the wear that it's great for transition and yet has enough pizzazz and oomph and depth to take you through this transition period, particularly when it's cool in the morning and cool in the evening. Great transition scent and won't be overwhelming as it maybe heats up a bit during the day. I mean, we're not wanting to wear this in like 100-degree weather, but 70s, maybe even low 80s, this will still be perfectly acceptable because of the texture and density of the fragrance. It's not too heavy or overwhelming, and it's definitely got a lot of fall pizzazz and flair, and I just adore the bottle. It's like such an experience to pick this up, sniff it, and spray it. Maybe one of the more unusual scents that I'm gonna suggest today, and I would absolutely say try this out before you purchase it. It is expensive and it is unique. And this is Bonbon from the House of Bo. I mean, these bottles go, I don't know, mid 300s at this point, 300 and let's look it up. Let's look it up. So a full bottle, whoa, a full bottle from House of Bo is now going for $365. And is it even 100 mils? Hold on one second, friends. Holy cow, that's for 2.5 ounce, which is what this bottle is. They do sell a 1.35 ounce, but even that is $195. Ay Dios mío. So I'll see if I can find this on sale and or some discount code for you somewhere. Sometimes they are on sale at the big retailers like Neiman Marcus and Saks Fifth Avenue. Does Saks carry it? But those big ones, Bloomingdale's, whatever. Whoever the big retailers are that carry this, when they have sales, might be the best time to look at House of Bo, or sometimes House of Bo itself will run 15 or 20% off sales. So you can sign up for their email list to see. Anyway, the fragrance, the magic to this fragrance is really in the dry down. When you first sniff this straight on the first spray, it'll feel a little bizarre. So give it just a few seconds to start to sort of bloom and evolve on your skin and become its true self. And as it does that, some of the primary sort of accords, there's definitely a floral accord. There's a slight booziness to this. There's a hint of saffron, a hint of marshmallow, and a hint of caramel. There you go, and it's such an interesting combination. Unisex, leaning slightly masculine. You may not hear a lot of people say that. I think it can be pulled off by anyone, but what I don't want is for people to see a marshmallow note and to see caramel and to think that this smells gourmand. It doesn't. It has gourmand facets to it, but it is not a gourmand fragrance. It's almost like a floral, boozy fragrance with some kind of woodiness in the background, even though I don't see woody notes. Oh, excuse me, there's a birch note in the fragrance, birch. Anyway, floral, boozy, woody, hints of caramel, hints of saffron, hints of marshmallow. Interesting fragrance for the fall. The name Bonbon, of course, makes me think of fall delectable things, even though it is not an edible smelling fragrance. It also makes me think of bonfires because Bonbon, bon is in the name. Anyway, weird associations that I make. Interesting fragrance for fall. One thing I will say about the fragrance is it's got a lot of depth, a lot of personality, and it's rather unique. One fragrance that it reminds me of that hasn't yet gained the popularity that it deserves. I'll be talking about this other fragrance this fall too. It's You question mark from the House of Destin, which is more of like a fig, woody, creamy fragrance. This kind of has some vibes of that. And so this has a little bit of fall spooky mystery to it. I want to do a spooky fragrances video, by the way, because I've got like a whole lineup of fragrances that remind me of spooky season. But if you're tired of fragrances that smell ordinary and you want something unique, Bonbon is definitely one to check out. So I just adore this next fragrance, and perhaps it's a little bit of a cheat because it's actually dead in the fall type of fragrance. But I have worn this in the summer too, and people associate it with summer. So maybe in that sense, it does deserve to be here in the transition fragrances. You'll probably see it again in a fall lineup somewhere because I just adore this. It's one of the most beautiful scents I've ever laid my nose on. It's complex, it's different, it's rich, it's interesting and intriguing. Dolce Amalfi from the Xerjoff Casamarati line. This is so interesting and unique and playful and delightful and serious all at the same time. It smells very much like juicy fruit gum with fall spices to me, and I just love it for that. There's apple, there's clove, there's other fall spices, there's amber in the base, there's vanilla and cardamom and balsam and tonka bean and amber. Very complex fragrance, but some of the notes that stand out to me, the clove is so beautifully done here alongside the apple. It's got that almost like banana-esque juicy fruitiness. It's beautiful that way. and a nice warm ambery base. It's both summery, happy amazingness and fall deliciousness. Like, you know what is the expression? Like fall spice and everything nice. There's a happiness to this, a depth, a warm, a spiciness that I think is really delightful. In fact, if you just wanted two from this category, I might suggest Limitless Shopping to kick off your transition period, and then Dolce Amalfi as we get a little bit deeper into the month of September anyway, right? Because fall starts on the 22nd. So if you just wanted two, a sort of lighter version, a bit of a deeper one, these two are maybe my top selections from today. Beautiful scents. They play nicely together. In fact, they probably would layer well together, with the main differences being the Dolce Amalfi has the clove and juicy fruitiness like the gum. This one, Limitless Shopping, has more apple and honey. They both have apple in them, which I think is delightful and make them perfect for fall. So that is like my edited list. I probably had 100 or more that I could have put in this category that would have been great, but I edited down to those choices. Let me know what you think of the list. What would you recommend as a great fall transition scent? Let us know down in the comments. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. See you in the next video.